Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Hospitality, where we are seeking to put a face to the hospitality industry in every way. As I announced last week, not only will you be able to see it live and comment via Facebook or YouTube, so send in those comments. We can respond as the show goes on, but Hospitality is now syndicated on JQLM radio station. It's a division of Ego Entertainment. You can go and download the app on Ego Entertainment, where this show will also show at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, right after I give 5 minutes of what's called travel nibbles. So I give you a few little updates every single week, 5 minutes touching base, letting you know what's going on in the travel industry, and then it follows with the show. So in case you missed it today, you can listen to it on Thursday. Never a bad thing, right? Share with your friends, okay? Friends that love friends, share with their friends. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you all this week, definitely, is just to encourage you, and you will know more as we go through this show, because it's going to be an amazing show. And I know I say that about every single one, but I'm really, really excited about this one as well, because we are talking about diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and making sure every single person that wants to travel or that has a family or anything of that nature has access, that there's a diverse amount of people traveling, that they have the access, and that they feel included. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you is on the International Board of Credentialing and Continuing Education Standards. I know, a lot of words, but that's IBCCES, like Igloo Boy, Charlie, Edward Sam. Okay, they have an accessibility card. This card is amazing because it will allow you, free of charge, not free for the parks, but free to get the card. You can utilize this card at different amusement parks and different theaters and things like that to help you get more access for disabilities. You would go on to ibcces.org/AC for accessibility card. It's designed to help individuals needing accommodations due to a disability or other conditions, and it's at participating attractions. So they help you to get into Disney World or Six Flags, or give you different options to help you to enjoy it and help your entire family to enjoy it. And another thing that I wanted to let you know about, that's really amazing, because I know we've been cooped up, we've been quarantined. A lot of us have gotten back out of the home, and you actually had to put on more than just pajamas to work, right? So that probably means now you're like, okay, I'm ready to travel somewhere. I'm ready to go somewhere that is beautiful beaches and sunny skies. So if your wanderlust is craving paradise, have no fear, because many countries are moving towards relaxed travel restrictions. They're no longer showing fear of COVID. They're showing how we can move forward in this life and live with it. Right. So there are many countries that have lifted the travel bans. Just want to let you know, on October 10th, Singapore announced open arms, okay, to 8 new countries that included the United Kingdom and the good old US of A. Also, Malaysia. Wait, on a side note, do you know that Malaysia reached a 90% vaccination rate for their country? 90%. That is amazing. As a result, they, in tandem with Singapore, as of October 10th, announced open arms to the 8 new countries as well. Bali said, come on over as of October 14th, about 4 days ago. Australia, October 15th. Now, Australia said for fully vaccinated travelers, they announced on October 15th, forgive me, but you can start traveling there on November 1st. And Thailand also said November 1st, as well as Fiji, December 1st. Now, Spain is not playing games. They still have said, we're not totally there yet, right? So they have put themselves on what's considered a less risky list. They haven't just said open arms all the way, but they're slowly getting there, because they're still feeling that, we really want to take our time and make sure that everyone is safe at all costs. So those are just some updates for your wanderlust. But to let you know, here in the United States, We announced this week that as of November 8th, foreigners can start coming here that are fully vaccinated. But just so you're clear, if whether you're a foreigner coming to the United States or a US citizen returning to the United States, you do have to have, if you're vaccinated, you do have to have a copy of a negative COVID result taken within within 3 days of departure. If you are unvaccinated, you must have a COVID test taken within 24 hours of departure. And you must have recorded proof, like a receipt in your pocket, that you have another test scheduled to take when you arrive home. None of this, I'm going to Walgreens tomorrow kind of thing, right? They want to make sure, because we're still not completely out of COVID, but I think we're learning how to work with it. I think that people hopefully are hashtag acting good and trying to work with it and live with it. So those are a few things that I definitely wanted to share with you starting the show. And of course, just like last week, like I told you, every time DJ Khaled does a video or has With a Best, he always broadcasts something or shows a brand of a friend or someone like that. So I want to make sure that Hospitality constantly lets you know about different things going on that are brands, right? One of them we shared a little bit last week is Color Street. When you are traveling, ladies, and you're trying to make sure that your nails are done and not chipped and you don't want to take out the polish. Like, when was the last time you were able to do your nails on the plane? With Color Street, you can. And I just want to show you a very quick video that shows how you apply it. Here you go. You just peel it off, you stick it on. It's 100% real nail polish. It is not tested on animals. It can last up to 13 days. And if your nails are about this length, one strip will work for 2 nails. And the packaging is about $11, $12, or $13. So it's lots of different designs, and you can use this and take it right along with you when you're traveling. Change your nails up, do whatever you want. And it's great for kids too, okay? Kids who love to spill liquid nail polish. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. It is called Color Street, and I definitely welcome you to reach out to me if, in fact, you are interested, and get Color Street for you. Get it in your life so you can travel, okay? And not have to worry about anything crazy and still be cute. So let's move on to my amazing guest who is doing some incredible things to create access for all people here in the hospitality industry, for families that are specifically affected by autism. And we want to make sure that we always provide here on Hospitality a face to hospitality that brings all of us closer and allows everyone to travel and feel included and like they belong and that things are accessible. So I am grateful to have her on the show tonight. I definitely want to start by reading her amazing bio because she is that girl. So let me start by sharing here the most beautiful Leslie Walker. She is a gem, needless to say. And I want to share with you her bio here. Just one moment. Of course, things click off the screen, but no problemo. Let's see here. I tell you, it wanted to just jump away and leave me. You know what? I'm not going to pause it longer. I'm going to bring Leslie on. I'm going to introduce you and bring Leslie on, and then I will pull the bio and read it, and we will do this together. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you here to the amazing Leslie Walker. Hello, Leslie. How are you?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
Good, friend. I saw you doing the pageant wave. Love it. I love it. It's a good look. How are things going for you today?
It's going pretty good. You know, I was noticing as you were opening the show, I think great minds think alike. I mean, we've got the same hair swoop going on. We might have the same lip color.
A little lippy.
Same outfit. Wait.
I love it.
I'm going to go ahead and leave my glasses off so folks can tell us apart.
There it is.
If I had them on, It's pretty close. Is all I'm saying.
I love it. I love it. And it is an honor to even be in the same class as you, my dear. We can be friends for sure. You'll even
Absolutely.
see your name and everything here. We both got a little gray on, but we are fully in support of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month here. Both of us doing great things. So tell the people where you are.
Sure. So technically, my office is at United Cerebral Palsy here in Huntsville, Alabama. We're UCP of Huntsville and Tennessee Valley. So we actually have programs that are statewide, but also physical therapy programs for kiddos that are of 6 northern counties. But my program, as you alluded to in your intro, within United Cerebral Palsy is called Tourism ALL-A-Bama. And I know you can get behind that.
Alabama, for sure. Well, thank you for that. I want to just read your bio actually while you're here on the screen, because oftentimes people forget how amazing they are.
Okay.
And knowing you like I do personally and professionally, you are a very humble woman. But I want the people to know that the guest speaking today comes with a lot of knowledge and a lot of accolades. So just listen about yourself and glow in the atmosphere. Yes, think, the lady think. Leslie Walker began her hospitality career as a fresh out of high school front desk associate at the Radisson Suite Hotel, Huntsville, now the Doubletree Suites, where I am. Since then, she's worked in numerous hotel roles, from front desk manager to sales manager to general manager, and has tackled lots of other duties as assigned. We all know about those, right? Ms. Walker went on to work for the Huntsville-Madison County Convention and Visitors Bureau as a convention sales manager, where she had the honor of co-creating the annual hashtag Heart HSV, like Heart Huntsville.
I Heart HSV.
I Heart HSV. That's what it was. I Heart HSV. And the social media campaign. And she spent one really cool week with travel guru Samantha Brown and spearheaded the hosting events for TBEX Travel Blog Exchange Conference, the world's largest conference of its kind, guys, the largest of its kind. These days, she has a horrible time saying no to volunteering, like for her role as board chair for Historic Huntsville Foundation, which we love here. She is a regular contributor to the We Are Huntsville community events blog, enjoys speaking at travel and tourism conferences, runs her own tourism consulting firm, and is here today as program manager for Tourism ALL-A-Bama, a project of United Cerebral Palsy of Huntsville and Tennessee Valley. I mean, Leslie,
it's exhausting.
Blown away.
It's exhausting. Let's be honest. It's exhausting.
It's so funny because you actually asked me before we went live, I don't know how you have the time to do it. Honey, I don't know how you have the time to do it.
I don't. None of us do we? No one has time anymore. Time is imaginary. It's not a real thing.
But I love what you're doing. I wanted to talk, just dive in, right?
Okay.
Dive into United Cerebral Palsy and how Tourism ALL-A-Bama came about. Like, what was the spark that started all of that?
Sure. So as you alluded to, well, in my bio, you mentioned the fact that I've been in the hotel business for, it said since high school. So, just a few years.
Just a few years, beauty. Yeah.
A long time. Let's be honest. A long time. And during that time, I volunteered at United Cerebral Palsy, as we are known to do in the hospitality industry. Yes. We make sure we stay involved in our communities. And then I joined their team permanently about almost 3 years ago. So last year, when COVID was first happening to all of us, but in particular for me, it was difficult to see my hospitality industry friends, right? I was now sort of removed from the industry, but all of my friends all over the world work for destinations, work for hotels, work for attractions. And what I was seeing is my friends who had been the face of a brand that I knew to look for if I was talking to Milwaukee or talking to, Oklahoma City, I knew who I was looking for. And those folks were gone within just a few days from their destination because no one knew what to do except for just stop.
Wow.
And so with United Cerebral Palsy, we operate a lot of grants. and grant season was coming toward the end of the summer and into the fall. And my CEO here at UCP knows that my first love will always be hospitality,
Yes.
and that she wanted me to think about how do we marry the clients that we serve at UCP and my love and knowledge of the hospitality industry and make something mutually beneficial. And so we went to the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities, which is a state agency, and proposed a grant where we would go into hotels that I love and train them to be more autism and sensory sensitivity friendly. My thought being, if we tap into this market that is out there, these families who are wanting to travel, who by the by prefer to travel when no one else is because of sensory sensitivities, then maybe we can not only help families and expand the knowledge of our hoteliers, but actually put heads in beds. So that was kind of the motivation behind it.
That's excellent. I love that you were able to commingle what you're doing now and helping those who are especially gifted, honestly, in our communities to travel, and on the flip side, equipping us as hoteliers on how to best assist them and welcome them into the property, both in a way that is dignified, that is helpful, that is definitely makes it fun and treats them like any other guest, but helps them and is able to recognize what the needs are. Have you had much buy-in for this as of now?
So the really interesting thing is that I came at this in the very beginning as a hospitality person, right? That's where my brain was coming from. And I thought, the ADA exists, but it doesn't address developmental disabilities or autism or sensory sensitivity. So I figured that there was a niche there, if nothing else, which sounds insensitive if you're looking at it from a hotel marketing perspective. But once I really assembled an advisory council of not only autism professionals, but families and hoteliers who understood what it would take to execute this program to make it happen, I was shocked at the positive feedback that I received from everyone involved. Families were thrilled that people were taking the time to learn about their kiddos, and wanting to welcome them in a way they hadn't felt welcome before. And hotels were like, this is a blind spot that we've had that we didn't know we had. And I knew that from being a hotelier because it never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that the piped in music in the lobby or the piped in signature smell or the baseball team hanging out in your lobby waiting to board a bus were affecting families or individuals in a way that never occurred to me. And so it was eye-opening for me, but then to see the way that we were embraced. In my training, as you know, because you've attended it, share a Facebook message that I received from a mom a state away, which wasn't even the audience I was trying to reach. I was trying to reach Alabama families, that said, thank you so much for creating this program. It's so needed. And how do I support these hotels? How do I make sure that we travel to these properties? And I received that message within 2 weeks of creating my Facebook page.
Wow. So there's a need.
Yeah. When I had trained one city, is all I had trained. I'd done one training, and I was already getting messages from families going, how do we participate? How do we be a part of this?
That's unbelievable. I want to ask you this, because I was so blown away by our training that you put together. There were so many things that I did not know. And a lot of times what we're not necessarily, something that's not a part of our everyday life, we don't really think about it, right? And I wanted to see if you could touch on, for those who may not fully understand autism, what it is, and that type of thing, and then share some of those statistics, because you said a little while ago that the families affected by autism travel at the times when other people don't. So if you could share kind of what autism is, those statistics, all of it. Yeah.
So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to read the definition of autism that I found when I started writing this training. I wanted to better educate myself, because
Right.
I'm not an autism professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was the definition that I found. Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication. According to the Centers for Disease Control, autism affects an estimated 1 in 54 children in the United States. Autism is often accompanied by sensory sensitivities and medical issues such as gastrointestinal disorders, seizures, or sleep disorders, as well as mental health challenges such as anxiety, depression, and attention issues. Now, when I read this definition, I say in my training that that last sentence really struck me, that it's accompanied by mental health challenges such as anxiety, depression, and
Mm-hmm.
attention issues.
Wow.
Can you think of anyone else in the world who may have
Right.
experienced anxiety, depression, or
Maybe.
attention issues in the
Especially
last
after
year and a half?
2020, okay?
Right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about not just a narrow group of people. We're talking
Right.
about potentially just about everyone at a given time in their life, right?
Right.
And so 1 in 54 children was the statistical number, but the other number that boggles my mind that I share is that in North America, the US and Canada, there are over 20 million people who have at least one child on the autism spectrum. When they were asked if they travel with their child with autism, 87% said no. Of 20 million people are not traveling.
87%.
87% not traveling. But when they were asked if there were autism friendly options, would they travel? 93% said yes, of
Wow.
20 million people who are not traveling.
That is an entire market that's not being served.
Absolutely. Now, not to pretend that no one is serving this market. There
Sure,
are
sure,
destinations who are doing great jobs. There are big
sure.
attractions who are doing great jobs. There are other initiatives that are trying to get this word out. But as a statewide initiative, it's certainly something Alabama had not previously done.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when I was writing this training, I searched autism friendly or sensory friendly hotels. Just Google searched in the
Sure.
state of Alabama. Pamela, would you like to guess how many hotels came up?
10, 20
I'm going to go with 0.
in the
Is
entire
being the number
state.
in the entire state. When I Googled pet-friendly hotels, would you like to guess how many came
Oh my gosh,
up?
6 million?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it was just
Wow.
a change of attitude and perspective and thought process for me as a lifelong hotelier, and I hoped it would be for others, and it has been.
Wow, that is it. That is really, really interesting. The amount of hotels that or venues that are autism friendly compared to those that are pet friendly. Um, when I definitely I love our four-legged friends, and we want to make sure that we always have them there because our four-legged friends and little babies and puppies are the little bitty puppies are like, though they're service animals in a lot of ways. They help
Absolutely.
with the anxiety, they help with the frustration or even the depression, right? For them to travel.
Absolutely.
But what you were saying about the amount of families that won't travel because of that, it's interesting because I wanted to share the video that you shared with us when you came to do the training at our particular hotel. But before I share it, I wanted you to touch on really quickly what makes a hotel autism friendly.
So for our purposes, what we're trying to create is we deliver this training. We go to hotels. As you know, you've experienced it. It's a super easy training. It's
It
30
is.
to 35 minutes. We've really made it the lowest, easiest level of entry to try to build an awareness, right? We're really trying to build an awareness more than anything. We're not certifying anyone. We're not saying, yes, stamp of approval, you're autism friendly. We're just trying to enlighten the employees who are working with the public, who are probably already welcoming families who are or individual travelers on the autism spectrum. For
Sure.
goodness sakes, we live in a city full of engineers. If you think we don't have a lot of citizens who are on the autism spectrum,
Think
You'd be
again.
mistaken. You'd be mistaken.
Yeah.
So we're really just trying to create an awareness. I just want to say that up front. But yeah, we deliver this training that's paid for by the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities, 30 to 35 minutes. Then we provide you with tools,
Yes.
strategies to welcome these guests. And I don't want to get too far in. Do we want to share the video first before I
Yeah,
tell you
I
what else
want
we
you
do?
to tell them about the video I'm going to share, because when you came to do our training, I was blown away at the things that, and I'm more aware of it now, but I was blown away by this video. Can you lead us into the video, and then I'd be happy to show it?
Sure. So I couldn't, because there's not a lot of resources out there, find anything that addressed hotels specifically. But I
Mhm.
found this great training video. It's actually from the UK of all places,
Yes.
and it's a first person example, a virtual reality video, if you will, of what it is like to travel through public spaces with sensory sensitivities or to be on the autism spectrum.
All right, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a look at this and think about it.
Take my hand. I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
That blew me away.
Yeah.
It blew me away.
It's just all of the input, all of the time, with no ability to filter and importance. You know, we can disregard the child screaming in the background if we want to, or try to at least try to ignore it, or tune out, or, tune out things. Oh, on the
Mhm.
autism spectrum, you can't necessarily tune those things out. It's all of the things all of the time.
Wow.
And so we can't make all of those things go away, particularly in hotels. We
Mhm.
have things that are brand standards, that are health department standards that you have to
Mhm.
have. So what we try to do is to go into hotels and now attractions, and give them strategies to help minimize the effects on individuals.
Wow. So, how would you suggest that we'll get to how people can reach out to you and to definitely get this on going on. Are there other programs in other states similar to Tourism Alabama?
So as far as I can tell, there are not other state-funded programs like
Mhm.
ours. There are nonprofits. There's actually a international nonprofit based in Birmingham in Vestavia Hills called Culture City with a K. It's a nonprofit. It does do autism certifications, and there are a few venues like the Von Braun Center here in Huntsville. A lot of big sports arenas do their training.
Mhm.
Carnival Cruise Lines has been through their training. There is a cost associated based on the size of your agency,
Sure.
but they have 550 locations across the world, and we actually share those locations on our resource page for Tourism Alabama. To my knowledge, they have only one hotel currently trained. They're
Okay.
primarily venues, zoos, libraries, and physicians facilities, doctors' offices, or dentists. Um, so we definitely saw a need there for hotels. Also, in the climate of COVID, we didn't feel it was something hotels would be capable of paying for and to justify paying for to ownership.
Sure.
All the more reason to have it funded by an agency whose community that we represent has a vested interest
Right.
in hotels being more sensory friendly.
That's fantastic. Let me ask you this, from the hotelier perspective, like, what are some tips that you would give hoteliers? And then I want to talk about some travel tips potentially for families. But what are some tips that I know you go in more depth in that fantastic training that you do? But for those that are here and just listening now, what are some tips that you would give to maybe hoteliers or amusement parks or, anything? How they can
Sure.
start being more receptive to that.
Absolutely. So if you're within the state of Alabama, as you said, you can reach out to me and I will provide you some of these items. But if you're watching outside of the area and you don't have an agency that does this sort of training in your state, think about things that you can do to minimize some of the things in your location that might be particularly I don't know, triggering to someone with sensory sensitivity. So if you have a lot of bright flashing lights in your attraction, consider having sunglasses available to those who might have visual sensitivities.
Oh, wow, great idea.
If there's lots of bells and whistles and buzzers and just general crowd noise, think about having some noise canceling headphones available for use. Think of having a sensory space somewhere that people can retreat to.
Right.
I think I saw a story recently, Nissan Stadium, I think, just integrated a new cozy space or quiet zone so that if someone is getting too much sensory overload, they have a place to retreat to calm down and to recenter. So just those are a few things.
I love it. And that is excellent because to give you a feedback from our property, since you've been there, our staff has been made aware and they're able to sense things more. We have created, there's a meeting room that's right there near our front desk that we don't rent out. It's like kind of last resort rent out. And we keep that as kind of like that space so that if someone comes in and is in need of that cool down time, that they have somewhere to do it and that we can provide that space for the families to make them more comfortable. We've actually made sure that everyone knows where the adjustments are for the lights in the lobby. We have made sure that everyone is aware of, the music and the level of the music in the lobby and throughout the front desk, like all from your training, because things that we didn't necessarily know, we now know. And it's amazing because this initiative is going to make travel more accessible to entire families. So speaking of families that are affected by autism, can you give them a few tips in preparation for travel?
Sure. So I think that it's so daunting and so scary that oftentimes they hesitate to do it. Until we sort of extend the olive branch like we have with our program. Because the part we haven't talked about our program that I'm just going to go ahead and tell you is the other arm of this that is so valuable is this grant actually pays for Alabama families who have at least one member of their family with a diagnosis of sensory sensitivities or autism to stay in one of our trained hotels for absolutely stinking free.
Absolutely stinking free.
That's right.
I love that.
They can break the seal on the scariness of travel on somebody else's dime, right?
Even better.
Yeah, but plan ahead. Think about where you're going. Check into what triggers might be at that property. Do a practice stay like this somewhere close to home so that you don't find out for the first time 1,000 miles away from home that hotels are not a great environment for your particular, the particular sensory sensitivities that you are working with in your family.
Right.
So think about creating, if a property doesn't have a social story, which we've talked about. Social stories are basically like a picture book or description of what you'll experience before you arrive at an attraction or a hotel. If that hotel or attraction doesn't have their own, maybe as a parent, you can do a little research and create your own social story for your little one so that you can prepare them for what they might experience when they get there.
I love it. Those preparing for the sensory concerns and making sure that you kind of practice makes perfect kind of thing. And I love that, you mentioned that, because those are things that would really help us to prepare to make sure that they're accommodated, because that's what hospitality is. We talked about, I always say on this show that Dr. Maya Angelou says people will forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that one experience of that child or that family coming and being accommodated and made to feel like everybody else can make a difference in their lifetime. So I really appreciate that. Are there other programs other states that you all would like to spread this to, that you've been able to talk to emulate this program?
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing.
You know me, I'd love to be everywhere.
Everywhere.
Funding is a great thing. As long as there are grant dollars available, I will be there. Because that's the thing, is that I can't pay for these hotel rooms out of my pocket. The grant has to do it, and the hotels have to be willing to train. But yes, I, from a perspective of would I love to come and speak to anyone who will listen, I will absolutely do that. And that is nothing but my time. When we get into the practice days and the training of the hotels and providing the things that we provide for the hotels to make sure that they're better equipped, that's where it's good to have those dollars.
Yeah, definitely. I know that you provided really great things for us in the bag and everything that we were able to utilize. Is that something you can touch on, what you provide to help the hoteliers be prepared?
Absolutely. And I would like to say too that those practice days, that's practice both ways, right?
Yes.
It's practice for the family, but it's also practice for the hotel to remember what they're offering these families. So, we're trying to think it all through as best we can.
I love it. I love it. Just thinking it all through is amazing. What has been some of the feedback of some of the families that may have gone on the practice days, or the hoteliers that have hosted families after their training?
It's been positive on both ends, and such good feedback. The families are so generous with their feedback, and most of the time their feedback is something like, "Thank you so much for creating this. We're so thankful. We're so grateful. The hotel made us feel so important." And I think any negative, and it's not even negative, any helpful feedback I've gotten has been like, my little ones asked over and over again how to get to the pool, and it would be nice if there was more of a visual map to the pool area, because I kept trying to explain it, and that hotel created a map to the pool area for families. And the hotels have been the same way. They're like, we loved hosting them, they were great, thank you for sending them. It's been so interesting how open the hearts are on both sides to learning, and it's kind of amazing. I hate to jinx it by saying it so much, but the hearts have been so open to some hoteliers to learn. Well, and then the families have been so grateful. But you asked about the sensory kit. So after you complete your training, we provide a sensory kit to hotels in the state of Alabama. We usually do at least one. If you have multiple guests coming, we provide others, but here's what they contain. Show and tell time.
Show and tell. Let me
show and tell. So at the front desk,
for you.
So what you say?
On the big screen. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
So at the front desk, you're going to talk to all of your guests, right? And you need to be able to communicate. So we have communication cards in case you have guests who are nonverbal, can't use their words. We have communication cards with some basic little conversation pieces, so that if you have a guest who has been separated from their party and they come to your front desk, you can communicate with them. Those stay at the front desk.
Yes.
We also we give out these little miniature whiteboards, personal whiteboards, so that if you have any nonverbal communicator, it doesn't have to be someone on the autism spectrum. If you happen to be hosting the conference for the Alabama Deaf and Blind, and you have someone who is deaf and nonverbal, and they prefer to write their information for check-in on this whiteboard, you've got it there handy. Those stay at the front desk. The next items are in a little tote bag that say Tourism ALL-A-Bama that you can offer to guests. They are property of the hotel and for use by our guests during their stay. And I made sure they're super easy to take care of because I know how hard it is to keep track of things in a hotel.
Yes.
So we have those noise canceling headphones that we talked about. These are not for playing music. They just simply protect the ears from loud noises. We have some highly fashionable Tourism ALL-A-Bama sunglasses. A couple of fidget devices, because the one type of sensory sensitivity we haven't talked about is sometimes that anxiety needs a way to express itself, and that's why fidget devices exist, and we have a few of those of different kinds.
Yes.
And these are for anybody, really. You could just, I could go down a rabbit hole here with that, but they're great. And then we have a weighted blanket. Now, weighted blankets, the recommendation is to be 10% of the body weight, because we can't have a different blanket for every potential guest you might have of any weight. This is a 7-pound blanket that we provide so that it's safe for kiddos, but at least something to provide adults who may need it. And then there's one thing that we've just added in the new year, which I think I've already brought you yours, Pamela.
Yes, you did.
Is pardon the reach, a white noise machine. So we talked about the sleep disorders when we talked about the definition, but as a person who's worked in the hotel industry for all of my life, I can't believe this isn't a thing we haven't had before, right? Between ice machines and noisy neighbors and elevators, like, why isn't this a thing we've always had? So all of these items are completely free and gifted to the hotel thanks to the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities. They are your property and they belong to you, and I replace pieces as they get lost, broken, or just simply walk away, as they're known to do. And yeah, we provide all of that to the hotel, plus put guests in their rooms. So what's not to love? And it's all free.
Exactly. And that is incredibly powerful. I love our sensory kit. I love what it does. And you touched on it just a tiny bit a moment ago. You said that there are other, like the depression and the anxiety and other different aspects that, can be affected where this kit could be handy. Expand on that. You were just talking about the different things.
Sure, absolutely. So just because you may or may not be on the autism spectrum, you don't have to be on the autism spectrum to participate in this program. You can have any type of sensory sensitivity. You just may experience anxiety. The weighted blankets that we give out, like, I would say half of the people I know on a weighted blanket, because they're like a warm, cozy hug, right? And if you're very anxious and you have a lot of anxiety, then a weighted blanket is for you. And so I also want to remove the stigma that these items are some sort of strange tools that you need only for people with autism. These all have a place in our life on any given day, depending on what you're experiencing as a human being living in these times.
Yes, and I totally agree, because that when you were saying that little pop thing,
oh my gosh, it's like bubble wrap.
It is. It's totally
permanent bubble wrap.
And it's you remember everybody had the little squeezer thing for stress or whatever. I had one time, and we were planning this huge conference, and I would just squeeze. Well, apparently my nail pierced through it, and I found out how much sand was in it. Okay, with that, it told me A, you're stressed. B, put that down. Okay, but with the popper thing, that's very convenient. I love that there's something for everyone in the kit. So how can people get in touch with you, say for the state of Alabama? I know that you're working primarily with Tourism ALL-A-Bama, which I love that name, by the way. I love it. But I really think that there are other states or CVBs that may want to reach out to you to emulate this program in their area. How can they reach you?
Sure. So my personal email comes right to this desk computer that's sitting next to me. Is the letter L, Walker at ucphuntsville.org. But if you just want to go creep around my website and then message me there, it's tourismalabama.org, because we want to welcome all of the guests into Alabama. So it's just like Alabama with an extra L, tourismalabama.org. And we're also on Facebook at Tourism ALL-A-Bama.
ALL-A-Bama.
Alabama.
I love it. I want that to be here on the screen so people can see that and make that happen right there. tourismalabama.org, and how they can reach out to you, Leslie, because this is a very necessary thing. Go
I'm
ahead.
actually ucphuntsville.org. L. Walker at ucphuntsville.org.
Okay.
There's a couple of UCPs out there.
How do I get that taken care of?
No worries.
Huntsville.
You can still go back to Tourism Alabama and just creep on me there. It's fine.
That's all right. We want to make sure that everyone has the right information so that we
Perfect.
can make sure that everyone has the accessibility to you to create accessibility to others. So last question, just to kind of wrap up a little bit. What is the best immediate advice you have for hoteliers, and the best immediate advice that you have for parents looking to travel when it comes to assisting our extra capable citizens? What's the best immediate advice? Say they haven't taken the training yet, right? And they really, tomorrow they interact with someone on the hotel side, or tomorrow the parent interacts with a hotel or a venue. What's the best immediate advice you might have for them?
So for hotels, I don't think it's any different. Back in my day, when I was growing up in hotels,
we both been in this too long.
I know. The thing that I always tried to remember when I was working at the front desk, those many years ago, is that people on the opposite side of the desk are the same as you. And sometimes they have bad days, and sometimes they have great days, and sometimes they're dealing with something that you have no idea. And so always keep your eyes, your ears, and your heart open to figure it out what they need in that moment. And maybe it's just give me my key as fast as you can so I can go put this kid in the room and they'll stop screaming at me. And sometimes they just need you to listen to what is going on in their life that is really breaking them down right then. So just try to have a heart for hotels.
That's excellent. Have a heart.
Yeah. And for families, it would be, don't deprive yourself of living life on this planet because of fear of what other people will think, or that you'll fail the first time. Go to the park, try the hotel, do the thing once, and maybe it'll be okay. So just give it a go.
I love that. I love that. And that goes back to even the accessibility card that I was talking about at the top of the show, icbess.org. They have that accessibility card that helps you when you're going to amusement parks, because you're right. Children love fun and adventure. Well, no matter what age you are, if you are, are a family that's impacted in any way by autism or depression or anxiety or anything, ways for you. We need to make this world inclusive.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that we do everything we can to meet the needs of all of our fantastic citizens. And Leslie Walker with Tourism ALL-A-Bama, I love that all part, is amazing. And I am so glad that you were here with us to share more about it. Everyone, her email address is scrolling across the bottom, along with tourismalabama.org. Definitely, if you are a family, I have friends that I invited to definitely watch this podcast episode, because I really want you to know that you're not alone, that we're trying to think of great options. And like Leslie said, have a heart at every single turn. So Leslie Walker, I am so grateful that you were here with us tonight to open our eyes, to really broaden our perspective on how we can better serve all of our citizens. Thank you so much for even being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And if those families are watching, go to my website, go to the top of the page and hit request a practice day. And if you live in Alabama, it's like 5 questions of when you want to go, where you want to go, and I will pick up the tab Just do the thing.
I love it. Do the thing. Hashtag do the thing.
That's right.
Love it. I love it. Hashtag that's really great. Because Nike had just do it. I like what you said. Hashtag do the thing.
Exactly.
Live your life. I think that is fantastic, and I appreciate you being here to share that with us. We're gonna move forward and switch gears just a tiny bit.
Let's do it.
I tell everyone that's on here, you are invited to stay as the distinguished guest of the hour. You are invited to stay for segment 3. Segment 3 is where hospitality tells the tea. And this is where we talk about different things that are going on just in the industry as a whole that have either gone viral or things that we're just like, I'm sorry, what? What's going on? What did you say? How did that happen? So I really want to share this with you guys, a couple of things that I found out. And anything that, like Leslie, I'm sure you probably had some experiences in hospitality. Both sides.
Everyone is absolutely delightful.
Delightful.
Has never broken the rules. Never does anything completely embarrassing that we have to clean up after. Not ever. That's never happened.
Never, ever in a million, trillion, gazillion years. But like I always start with, I tell people, if you've had an experience that you want us to talk about on Tell the Tea, you want us to tell the tea about it, talk to me. I talk back. Okay. So one of the first things that I wanted to share was, okay, so Leslie, since you are staying with us, right? You are going to
I'm going to stay.
I love it.
I'm not going to miss the tea.
Don't miss the tea, honey.
No.
This is the part that really gets a lot of people, right? So I'm sure you probably, like the rest of the world, heard about all of the flights that were canceled by Southwest Airlines. Oh my gosh, like I was literally checking on people. I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because like thousands canceled. And then thousands more by 8 a.m. Monday. It was just like, woo, what's going on? So one of the stories that I saw, there was a lady getting married. She was getting married in Vegas, where everything, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, okay? But she was getting married, and her family, Leslie, they were trying to naturally be at the wedding. Families want to be at the wedding. So Southwest Airlines, during all those flight cancellations, canceled the flights of her entire family.
Yikes.
The entire family. So nobody was at the wedding.
And I'm sure the bride was fine with that, because brides are very rational, calm.
All the time.
I'm sure she was fine with that. I thought you were going to say, because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, that her flight got canceled and she had to stay in Vegas.
Or this is the remix of it, I guess. What happens in Vegas, you don't always get to see.
You don't see.
You don't always get to see.
I feel bad laughing at her misfortune. That's horrible. That's horrible.
And I haven't been able to see like how Southwest has had to, recover from that, because I did one of my travel, I did some travel nibbles, because Hospitality is now syndicated on JQLM radio station. Hello.
Fancy.
But one of the things that I had talked about with all those cancellations was that there were people that Southwest Airlines it's public knowledge that they're being sued by the union, the pilots union, and they're short staffed. I mean, like a lot of people are right now, right? But I kind of want people like surgeons and pilots to kind of be there. That part's kind of important. Well, they said that they were canceling not because of the lawsuit, if you will, but just because, they didn't have enough air traffic controllers and they weren't there on Sunday and Monday. I said, because they were on the picket line.
Fair.
Yeah.
Man, it's a mess out there, but we know how it is. Everyone's in that boat. And I think that they're relaying that information because I think people can relate to it.
Right.
And I think they're going to have to get it right with their employees. I mean, everybody's having to get it right with their employees.
That's right.
I mean, COVID has flipped the script. Folks are not going to put up with stuff they would have put up in a pre-COVID world. I mean, what was the statistic they said recently that like in August, like 4.3 million people just quit their jobs?
Right.
So you're going to have to make it right, because I mean, in the hospitality industry, you ain't got pilots, you ain't got air traffic controllers, you can't sell flights. And that's their business.
Flight. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So look, speaking of flights, girl, another thing I want to tell the tea about. Okay, so there was a woman on a flight, and she was for Mesa Airlines. Now, I've never flown Mesa Airlines. Have you ever heard of them?
I think it might have been one of those situations, like when you get your plane ticket and it says American Airlines, but down here it says operated by Mesa Airlines. I think it's one of those situations.
She was flying from Montana to Houston, right? And her name was Farah Naz Khan. She's a Seattle-based endocrinologist.
Ooh.
Okay. Wow. A lot of gray matter, like my mom said, a lot of weight. So she's traveling with her husband and her baby girl, who is still in diapers. So if you're on a flight, the baby, has to go to the restroom. You need to change the diaper. So naturally, you take your changing pad, you go back to the restroom, you change the diaper, whatever you can, and you wrap the dirty diaper up and put it in the trash, because you sure don't put it in your pocket, right? Well, she did what every other mom or dad traveling with a baby did, and she put it in the trash can. Well, as she was going back to her seat with her little changing pad and wipes tucked under her arm, her baby under the other arm, a flight attendant literally started yelling at her and accosted her and said, what are you doing? You can't throw that in there. She said, it's a baby diaper. Is there a special place to throw it? And no, you need to go back and get it. Well, another airline employee came up and was like, ma'am, you're doing the right thing. You're supposed to dispose it. Don't worry about it. Well, this one air attendant was just angry. And she actually went back, got the dirty diaper, and took it off the plane with her and then disposed of it. So she didn't even end up leaving it. Okay. What kind of chaos is that for a parent? So then, as it gets better, she gets a call on her cell phone that is from an unidentified number, and it is the airline attendant girl who has gotten her phone, called her phone number, took it upon him or herself to call her and say, I've now put you on the no-fly list for trying to have, get this, a biohazard on our plane.
I have so many thoughts, I cannot even.
Exactly. Oh, put them out, honey. This is Tell the Tea.
Okay. Wait, I gotta get them in order of importance. One, I feel like this flight attendant could be potentially prosecuted for something like menacing communication for stalking this person that they did not give their phone number to.
Exactly.
Two, it's a diaper and you're on a plane. I mean, I'm sorry, but if whoever over in 3D can bring their double chili burger with onions on it on a plane,
with the onions,
that is way more of a biohazard than a diaper that's been put in the bathroom.
I agree.
I am. Does this person still, the flight attendant? Does this person still have a job?
Well, that's the part that the story kind of dies right there. It kind of fizzles out. But I exactly what you said. You took it an extra level, an extra step to call me. And put me on a no-fly list for a baby diaper. That's
a whole different level. Yeah, that person, the flight attendant may need to be on a no-fly list. How about that?
Because that's really deeply concerning. I was just like, wait, what? So it's all kind of stuff, honey, that we tell the tea about on Hospital the Tea. But it's hashtag acting badly. That stewardess was doing just that. And I mean, I apologize to the mom because she's sitting there and she's got a baby in her arms. What kind of stuff is that?
And if you've been traveling with a baby anyway, let's be serious. You're already please don't cry. Yes. Everyone's going to stare at us. It's already every kind of stressful without being basically verbally assaulted by an employee of the airline over something that is a natural, normal. I mean, does that same flight attendant also consider breast milk if she were to feed that baby a biohazard? And potentially, what about our elderly or passengers with disabilities who they themselves may need some sort of restroom accommodation?
That's
wow.
so true. That is scary. And you know what? That's true, because there are many people in varying age groups that may need that assistance and to be able to make that disposal. And it's already, especially if it were an adult, it's
Yeah,
very private. You want to be discreet.
absolutely.
I mean, talk about not accessible. So, so dish some tea. Have you heard of anything or seen anything lately in the hospitality industry? Because we all know hospitality encompasses more than hotels and airlines. It encompasses
That's right.
restaurants and everything. Have you heard something? I know you have.
Okay, so I spend probably a lot of time on social media for someone to, not that there's anything wrong with my age. I was going to say my age, but there's no need to apologize. But I spend a lot of time on social media. And my
Mhm.
favorite one of late has been the Hooter girls snapping back at
Wait a
Hooters
minute.
about their uniform change.
Wait, tell
Right?
the tea. What's the
Okay,
setback?
so Hooters rolled out new employee uniforms that, let's face it, the short shorts from Hooters were sort of famous already, but they rolled out essentially what is like a thong short. It, I don't
Wait,
even, yeah,
it's different than what
swimsuit.
they were already having to wear?
Yes, yes,
You want them to look like they are in a strip club or something? What is
yeah,
that?
yes, indeed.
Okay,
And
so what did
so,
Buddha say, honey? I mean, the
yeah,
girl.
so the women started fighting back and said, this is ridiculous. This is not safe. It's not sanitary. It's not a uniform. And they took it to social media and started sharing the
I love
pictures and their feelings about it. And Hooters got pushback
it. Really?
because these women were fighting back. And now I will say the thing that was discouraging as a woman is
Right.
the number of people who were like, oh, well, you chose to work in a place like that. Just because you choose to work
Sure.
somewhere where you're doing a job where you're waiting tables and
Sure.
working for tips doesn't mean that you need to be forced to wear something that is uncomfortable, unprofessional. I mean, yes, I mean, what they have is already skimpy, but I love that they drew the line and said,
Right.
no, I'm not doing that. And they don't have to anymore.
That's
Another
right.
change in the workforce that
Wow.
I would say, I mean, let's face it, because they could take their pick of what restaurants they want to work
They
in.
really could.
I'm sure they make great tips at Hooters, but I was glad to see them stand up for their rights and say, it's a bridge too far. We're not going that
Wow.
first step further.
I'm totally like blown because there are people who like you chose to work there. That's kind of like you signed up for. Now, yeah, we know that when you apply for a job and you get a job, you know you're going to have to wear the hat from Burger King, whatever the case may be. But the hat from Burger King is totally different from a string bikini, basically. Um, and then the restaurant still invites families.
Yeah, yeah, that's their favorite thing to say they're a family. And I don't know if it's changed too. You know, they have a long history of a lot of misogynistic and unfair practices, not
Right.
just allegedly. I'm not putting myself
Allegedly.
out there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I know historically that like the girls used to were required to wear those tights that they wear with their shorts,
Yep.
but they had to buy them themselves from Hooters. So if they got a run in them
They
or
had to
something, they would be written up, but they had to buy them from Hooters. I don't know if that's still true anymore or not.
Oh
That
my,
may have
that's
changed.
crazy. It's like you require them to do it, but you can only get it from us. So we're going to make extra revenue off something we
Yeah.
require you to do. So we're going to force you to buy it.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Now I don't know if they still do that, but they did
Yeah.
back in the day. But the shorts for sure, like the girls went off this week, and I was like, "Good for you."
Good for you. I love that they are standing up for themselves and saying, hey, we got to draw the line somewhere. Because, you know, that whole adage, give an inch, you take a mile.
Yes.
So, you know, it's really, really interesting. I'm glad they had something to say, and I'm glad you brought it to our attention here on Tell the Tea. I love it. Well, I mean, I think that we have given the people a wealth of information. Once more, I want to make sure, thank you for staying on and telling the tea with me, girl. That was amazing. And
I love it.
Yes, I want to. If you branch out and do anything else, like I tell every guest on Hospitality, you are now Hospitality family. Hashtag H3T. So any big announcement, yes, any big announcement, anything, you are always welcome to come here. And like I said, Hospital the Tea is streamed through YouTube, through Facebook. It's on Anchor, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all of these different places. And it's also now syndicated on JQLM radio station. So it's a wide footprint that the information will be exposed to. We are always happy. I am always happy to welcome you back at any time. You are Hospitality family, my beautiful friend. I'm so glad you were here and stayed to tell the tea. You really did bring some tea, Leslie.
Okay. You know, I do what I can.
I mean, I love it. I love that you brought the tea to the table, because now it's going to prompt other people to check into this and say, hey, what, huh? So that's what telling the tea is about. So just want to put Leslie's information at the bottom of the screen one more time for her as our distinguished guest. And I know it's scrolling on the bottom, but would you one more time recap how people can find you?
Absolutely. First and foremost, go to tourismall-a-bama.org. If you're a hotel, there's a place to request training. If you're a family, there's a place to request practice stays. And if you just don't need a practice stay but are traveling into the state, there's a make a reservation tab. So you can scroll down and see all the hotels that are offering a rate and are already been trained. So you can just stay on your own time. And you can simply shoot me an email anytime you like to lwalker@ucphuntsville.org.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Leslie. It has been my joy to have you, friend. And I told you from the first day after you did the training, I was like, I got to have you on Hospitality. I need you here, because what the message that you are conveying through our state, and just even to the people that are listening now, is impactful. It is necessary. It is beautiful. It helps to expand our communities and meet the needs of all people. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here for yet another episode of Hospitality. New episode coming live next week on Monday at the same bat channel, same bat time, same bat channel, where get your taste buds ready, because your mouth will water. I'm going to have two guests on, one who is an event planner and a pastry chef who makes unique cakes. The other who is a chef, and one does the sweet, one does the savory, and they're both going to be on here and do some demos. So that's going to be exciting. I'm going to try to reach through and get a little something, bring it back. But yes, Hospitality is always focused on changing the face of hospitality, bringing people together. And we thank you for being here for yet another episode. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. All right. So